Morning, Refilwe.
Morning, Lerato.
Emma, how are you today? Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, and how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Welcome to Suero TV.
Thank you.
Would like to
having me.
thank you so much for doing this for us and for what we're about to do and educate Botswana about investing in the stock exchange. But first, I would like you to introduce yourself and what you do and who you are.
Thank you, Lerato. My name is Refilwe Lesolle, and I work as a senior sales consultant at Motswedi Securities. So really my job at Motswedi Securities entails just taking through our clients the whole process of investing in the stock market. We just go through the account opening requirements, the buying and selling process, and just really depending on the level of understanding of the stock market, we educate from scratch, from what is a share to also being as technical as we can, depending on the client's level of understanding, like I said.
Okay.
So in our department, there's about 4 of us, the sales and dealing department, and I'm mostly, I deal with our private clients, and that is your high net worth clients, and also we look at the frequency in which these clients invest in with us. So they need more detailed attention to get a better service. Okay. But all in all, we just any and every client that comes in and has the interest of investing in the stock market.
Okay, all right. So I think you've already mentioned what Motswedi Securities does, and as well as its role. You've already answered the questions. So now what I want us to do now, please take us through the process. I'm Lorato, I'm coming in, I want to invest in the stock exchange, but I don't necessarily understand how the stock exchange works. My budget is 10,000 pula. Please take me through the process or what's going to happen.
Okay, so what happens is that when you come in as a client, obviously we, like I said, we look at your level of understanding of the stock market. We look at your budget. Sometimes your goals may not necessarily match up with your budget. Some stocks really require large amounts in order to really get to enjoy the returns from a stock. So we also look at things like budget, and then if you're a new client, we look at account opening process. We take you through that, the buying and selling process, and then also we try and explain the benefits and the risks of investing in the stock market. So we want clients to make informed decisions. So these are some of the things that we'll talk with the client, and also their interests. A client can come in and say, I want to invest in property. Another one can come and say, I have a huge interest in tourism. And so we just engage and see what the client really wants, also depending on their risk appetite and whether they want to invest for the long term or short term. So we really engage with our clients, and we get to really try and advise them on stocks that really match up with what they want. So
okay.
yeah.
Do you also go into detail in letting them understand how long it takes for the returns to come? Do you go into detail of that so that they understand the level of patience they need to have when investing?
So what happens is, obviously we talk about the risks and the benefits of investing in the stock market. Now the stock market is very unpredictable. Today is a good day in the stock market, and then tomorrow everything just changes. Like you can see with what's going on with the pandemic, nobody saw this one coming. So I think we try and make them see those risks, and depending on the performance of a company, that's when they can, it will all depend on how their returns are going to be. That is company performance, because remember, they benefit through dividends.
Yeah.
And they are only paid out at the discretion of the board of that particular company. So some dividends may be good at a particular point in time. Sometimes they may not be so good, depending on how a particular company has performed. But so it's really, it's something that you cannot really guarantee to a client and say, this is how much you're going to make out of the stock market, but this is what you could possibly make. So we try and really make them see that it's, what sometimes we discuss with you is not exactly what you're going to get, because we can't foresee what's going to happen in the market.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna just recap there a bit. I don't know if our listeners or our watchers actually heard what your role is basically. I'll just recap for them a bit. The last time, guys, if you remember, we actually had an interview with the lady at the Botswana Stock Exchange. So today we're mentioned that the only way that you can invest in the stock market is through brokers. So today we're having an interview with the broker on how now can they help you when you want to invest into the stock market. Just tell you to recap so they understand who you are again. I don't know if that was very clear to them, that now you are the broker, the person to invest into the stock market for you on your behalf, and who will be giving you advice and everything on what the best stocks will be. Yeah, the middleman, right?
Yeah, we are the middleman.
So, yeah, okay. All right, no, that's fine. I think we've actually covered most of the questions that we wanted to answer at the beginning of the. So now, how do you instill confidence on a client who is a bit skeptical and not sure? Hey, I'm no sure. Or sure, I should be doing this. How do you instill confidence, especially when you've mentioned the risks, and then first the client comes a bit skeptical, just a typical scenario, not the one that really knows how it works, but skeptical. And then you mentioned the risks, and although you also mentioned the benefits. How do you instill the confidence in the client?
Okay. Yeah, besides just communicating, one thing that we always do is, before anything else, as skeptical as they are, we still have to give them the truth. Every investment is a risk. Yes, that one you have to. And then obviously the benefits, we really have to stress out the benefits of how one can benefit from the stock market. And that would really, really instill confidence in them. Some clients don't even know that they're entitled to have a say in the running of a company.
Yeah.
And, they're entitled to attend AGMs of every company that they've invested in. They have every right to question so many things. They have every right to vote in directors and the likes. So I think some of these things, it's, it instills confidence, because now if I see things not going well, I have the right to even, a client even has a right to set up a meeting with management of a company.
Yeah.
I've attended AGM. Some people still need to seek further clarity, and they schedule appointments with them. And you know what, you are an investor. At the end of the day, you have a right to question us further than this. So I think that would instill a lot of confidence in people, that at least I would have a better understanding of how a company is run. And one other thing, some clients, I'd like to give testimonies of other clients, obviously not revealing, disclosing other clients' names, but just for them to get to have real life examples of people that have really benefited as our clients from the stock market. We've seen people that pay school fees. They've given their children the best education through just earning dividends. Some people, they can't afford a certain lifestyle, but through shares, people would say, what, with my salary, I can't afford to go on holiday. But, once I invest in the stock market, I earn dividends and I'm able to take my family on a holiday, depending on the goals of different clients. And then one other thing is that, so when you give them an example, your shares, treat them like you check on your farm every weekend without fail. You are always all ears on what's happening, with the farming sector, for foot and mouth. You always want to know what's happening in that industry, and you're always anything that happens. So treat your investment like that. You must always be all ears. You must always be interested, and you can invest in any sector that is of interest in you. So I think when you take through a client with regards to that, they really, they have a change of heart, even when they were a bit skeptical. I don't know, I'll come back after a few days, let me go think about it. Someone can just leave the office having invested because you've really sat down with them and broke it down thoroughly to them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I like the way that you're taking it home for them, especially for Botswana. Take it home for them in terms of what investment because Leruo is an investment for them, a very, very special one for to the heart.
Very special.
Yeah, very special. So, which is actually really good that you take it to them, and then they get to relate. So now let's talk about budget. Can anyone come and invest, no matter how much they have?
Anyone can invest. We have students, we have people who work, we have people who are self-employed, we have minors, everyone can invest.
Yeah.
So yeah, and all it just takes is a minimum of 100 shares to invest. But obviously, depending on the stock that you want to invest in, some stocks you would need a little bit more just so you get better returns from the investment. But yeah, anybody can invest in the stock market.
Yeah. So you did mention that you actually find out you get to really thoroughly interview the client on what their goals are so that you can align their investments according to their goals. Yeah, that's another thing that you have mentioned there. So I think what the listeners and the viewers can understand is that, as much as the broker is there to help you understand, it's their role also to understand what you want. What is your future looking like? What are your expectations, so they can tell you whether your budget, how much you have, is enough to meet your targets, or this is the best way to do it, or this is the best way to invest, so that they also know, yes, your goals can be met through understanding of your goals by the broker. Yeah. All right. So, all right. No, I think you've answered that one. Now, I think it's also very important that, as much as one doesn't need a lot of money to invest into the stock market, it also needs a bit of more cash as well for you to benefit more, isn't it, from it? Yeah. Let's go deeper in that, or how a little bit more. So that we prepare ourselves for 10,000, like 1,000, 5,000 thing, and make it obviously not guaranteed, like you are saying. There are risks involved that happens. Pandemics happen, recessions happen. Now, about how much roughly should one have to get at least some oomph of investment? You want to go on that holiday or pay that school fees, like you're saying, some testimony from your clients.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, we have those clients that would really tell you, listen, I don't earn much, but at the end of the day, I just want something that in the long run will give me some good returns. So some clients, I would tell them, listen, you don't, because I think clients feel like they need to invest a lump sum of money. But I always tell them, if you cannot invest a lump sum amount of money, the little that you invest frequently, be it every 2 weeks, every month, as frequently as you can. The one thing that I always tell clients, do not invest, say, for example, 500 pula, and then, disappear for 5 years, because you're not going to get any returns from it. But you can instead just tell yourself that every month you just put in 200, 500, 600, a little goes a long way. And then, and then I would say investments from maybe a minimum of 5,000 pula going upwards can give you a good returns, in a reasonably short space of time. So 5,000 going upwards can really, really make a huge difference. But like I said, not every client can afford 5,000, but just the 200s, the 300s, the 500s that you put in every month will make a huge difference in the long run.
Yeah. I mean, thank you for mentioning that. I didn't know I can actually keep investing every month, actually increase every month. I didn't know that. So that is actually a really good point. It's like making a saving, basically. It's like putting your money into an investment account, basically. So you can actually keep investing, throwing in money every month, to increase
as
your
frequently
shares.
as you can. Yeah.
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 Actually,
Because remember, Lerato, the more shares that you have, the more dividends you earn. So the aim is to try and get as many shares as you can, so that you increase your dividends, your dividend payments.
yeah.
So that is the goal.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's really good advice. Thank you for that as well. So now I want us to talk. Are you able to assist on investing outside the BSE?
No, we are only restricted to stocks that are listed on the Botswana Stock Exchange. But you'll never know with the recent developments with the new CSD system. Who knows? Some maybe in the near future we'll be able to explore other markets. But for now, really, we are only licensed to buy and sell stocks strictly listed on the Botswana Stock Exchange.
All right. Are you able to recommend brokers outside the country? For instance, if I want to invest in the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, are you able to suggest brokers that maybe you've worked with or you have confidence in them to help me as an individual invest in this, I don't know, New York Stock Exchange or the Joburg Stock Exchange?
One advice we would always give clients is them contacting the Johannesburg or the particular exchange that they're interested in. Because, one thing, Rato, if I tell a client, try this broker, and then things go a different direction, it's going to reflect back on us as a broker. So the advice that we always give clients is call the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, find out which brokers are legally licensed, and then take it from there. So we're not in a position to tell a client invest in this broker outside of the Botswana Stock Exchange.
All right. Okay. Now let's talk about the broker fees. I want us to get into the detail of the broker fees. That you're not there for free, as much as you are the middleman to invest in the Botswana Stock Exchange. You are not free. Are they commissions for the broker as well as fees? Are there two different things? Stuff there, the commission as well as the fees, or there's only a commission or there's a fee separately? Please just explain how you charge your customers if they invest through you.
Okay, so we have our commissions. They are charged at 6 basis points, and those go to us as the broker. And then we have a handling fee of 15 pula for each buy transaction, and then we charge 10 pula handling fee for each sell transaction. And then we have the BSE transaction fee, which is charged at 0.15% for all trades that are up to 5 million pula. And then we charge 0.12% for all, still the BSE transaction fee, but we charge 0.12% for transactions above 5 million pula. And then we have the CSD, which is the trading system, the Central Securities Depository system. They also have a charge of 0.1% for all on the trade value. And then we have, we charge 12% VAT for every buy and sell. And that applies to both the retail clients and institutional clients. So those are the charges. And you find that they're not much really.
Oh, yeah?
It's a little,
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So there are some investments with high transaction costs because possibly maybe because of the value of them or the returns that the client is going to get. Do you get into detail into detail with clients with those type, or are they existent in Botswana? Those type of very high the investments where you will get probably very good returns, or in particular companies that have their own transaction costs. Besides you, do you communicate that with the client, and are they even existent in our country? Have you experienced those?
They don't apply to us because remember, like we just discussed, the commissions and fees that we charge. So these are the standard fees that we charge only, and they're regulated by the Botswana Stock Exchange. And they are like that across all brokers. So, you go on to another broker, you still find the same charges, and they remain as is. So the one thing that I can tell clients is that the only thing that sets us apart as brokers is just service delivery. Otherwise, the charges are all the same. So there's nothing like a high transaction cost or a lower one. The costs that we discussed are the ones that a client would get. And one thing I would like to also emphasize to clients is that you only get charged when you buy and sell. You don't get any other charges for opening a CSD account. No, it's just for each buy and sell.
So what about, okay, when you actually say that, now it comes to this question that as you can see now, for instance, there's a recession going on. Obviously, stock is going to go up and down for certain investments and for certain companies. Do you manage those investments for clients? For instance, if a client gets nervous, obviously some clients will be nervous. Do you manage it, those stocks where you notice that, you know what, this stock here, the client is going to lose? Do you immediately advise the client that we need to possibly sell those shares before the value drops? Let's reinvest. Do you go to that detail as a broker?
That is done by fund managers, and it also comes at the cost of they charge managerial fees for that. But we as a broker, we have a research department, and that department we have weekly and we have quarterly updates, we have monthly updates where we give a client just an overall view of how the stock market is doing, so that the client is in a better position to know how the market is performing, and they're able to make investment decisions. But our doors are always open. I mean, if a client goes through our market report and then they feel like they're a bit uneasy on something, they can always give us a call and say, I'm reading this and I'm wondering, would you advise me to sell my shares at this point? Because the client is the only that can decide for themselves whether they want to sell or buy. We can only give advice, but at the end of the day, the decision lies with the clients. Whereas with fund managers, they make all those decisions on your behalf. So that's the difference between us and the fund managers.
All right. So an interview with fund managers is next.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think for a minute there, the internet was a bit unstable, so we didn't get the part that you said. That goes that kind of management is by fund managers. This is where the asset management companies come in, isn't it? Where now they manage your stock basically on your behalf, and they get to say, no, sir, we need to move your investment to this one. This one is doing better. Let's sell it. So that's their role.
That's their role, and then they have managerial fees for that.
Yes, and they have managerial fees, and that's not a broker's role.
No, that's not a broker's role, but we have the research department that will always give our clients guidance, and the decision will lie on the client as well to whether they want to sell or buy based on the report that we give them.
Okay. Now, let's talk about a break-even analysis. Let's say where we invest and there are costs involved, of course, and the returns don't come immediately because of the costs that were involved in investing in that particular stock, right? Do you explain to the client that will happen, that there will be a point where you're going to break even and then you start actually making the profits? Do you go into detail with that? And also, while we're there, does high costs, basically the higher the fees of a particular transaction or particular investing in a particular company, constitute to better returns? Does it necessarily mean that?
Yeah, you remember I said all our fees are regulated by the Botswana Stock Exchange, so they will always be standard. But like I said, we have a research department that will always give out the benefits. We only sit down and we analyze the benefits with the client, and then the risks involved, as well as the costs. Like I said, we do discuss the break-even analysis with our clients. We try and get them to see that in the event that the stock performs well, this is the likely the return that you will get, and if this goes on, this is possibly what you could make. And then based on the history of stock performance and how it's currently doing and what we foresee it doing, and like I said, the stock market is very unpredictable, but we always try and outline the benefits and the costs involved and how possibly you could break even at some point and start reaping returns. And like I said, sometimes, we encourage clients to invest in the long run to eventually get to see those returns coming in, because they won't happen overnight.
Yeah.
Investing in the stock market is something that you would really enjoy the benefits of doing it as time goes on, with time.
Yeah.
So yeah, at some point, you start realizing those benefits as you invest in the long run.
Yeah. All right. Now, can we please kindly just talk about the requirements needed as a client wants to come in and invest into the stock market? What should I bring as Lorato that you are probably going to require from me, so that it doesn't have to be too back and forth? What would you need for me to come to bring when I want to invest into the stock market?
Okay.
Mm.
Remember, we are the broker,
Mm.
and then we have the Central Securities Depository. That
Mm.
is like the bank where all your shares are kept. So
Mm.
we open that CSD account for you, and
Mhm.
then we open an internal one for you.
Mm.
So what we need is just the usual KYC documents, and that is a certified copy of your ID
Mm.
or MANG, and or a passport for non-citizens. And
Mm.
then we need a confirmation of employment,
Mm.
and we need a proof of residential address. So for people that are not employed, students, and people who are self-employed,
Mm.
for students, we always ask for a sponsorship letter, because that reflects their source of income.
Mm.
And then they can do an affidavit just confirming their place of residence. And
Mm.
even people that are self-employed can just have an affidavit saying, I'm self-employed, this is what I do for a living, and I wish to open a CSD account. And then they confirm their residential address. But one other thing that I think we've left out here is the fact that you can also open a CSD account for your company. So
Mm.
Suero Consultancy shares. And
Mm.
so, yeah, different KYC documents. Would you need your certificate of incorporation,
Mm.
certified IDs of directors, and financial statements that will come in as a source of income, and
Mm.
a resolution, to open a CSD account. And it will differ with, because we also get societies coming in, so that, the KYC requirements differ.
All right. Okay. Now, another thing that you mentioned earlier, I just wanted to just clarify a bit about investing in property. You mentioned investing in property,
Mhm.
that you also help. Take me through that process. How do you help a client to invest in property?
Okay, so the stocks that are listed on the Botswana Stock Exchange,
Mm.
you get different companies from different sectors.
Mm.
So you have your engine from the oil and petrol industry,
Mm.
and then you have your Tenstar, you have
Mm.
La Rona.
Okay.
Those come from the property sector, yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
then you get Sefalana and Choppies from the retail sector, the food sector. And then we have
The banks.
let me see. So you have the banks, you have thank you for that.
Yeah.
So those are the different sectors that I'm talking about. And a client would have interest in the property sector, and they would come in and say, listen, I just want to invest in the property sector. So which stocks can you
Ah,
advise?
I get
And
you. Okay.
uh,
All right. So you
yeah.
don't help them buy property. We need to clear that, because I think they might just come in and just say, "Yeah, we want to buy property." You're not property agents. You will help them
Yeah,
invest in the property, uh,
in the property sector.
in the
Yeah.
property sector, basically buying stock in the
Yeah.
property sector. Yeah, I think
Yes.
our interview is done. Actually, I think we've answered most of the
Oh,
questions
really?
that a typical client would ask. If there's anything else, we'll definitely have a follow-up interview, because I do have clients
Okay.
that, or I do have followers that do ask questions in box and say, "Look, please ask these questions so that we can
Mm.
understand better." But no, thank you so much for this. We are so appreciative of this. The internet wasn't too good, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
Bad like the other day,
It
but
did good.
we did well today. But thank you so much, Refilwe. You have really made it clear on how it works to invest in the stock market. I think the next interview is definitely fund managers, so that now
Yeah,
you can understand. Now, when I go to an asset management company, how am I going to invest my money with you guys? So yeah, thank you.
definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Loretta, for having us.
And
Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.